Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the podcast, The Endurance of Labor Laws. I'm your lovely host, Lesley Sullivan, and today is episode 166, and we are going to take a look at a Superfund site that was located in American Samoa. But first of all, let me give a big shout out to my listeners because as usual, you guys are awesome. We love to see you here online. Do check us out on our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like our videos. We would greatly appreciate it. So a big shout out to Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, New York, West Virginia, California, Indiana, Georgia, Texas, New Jersey, Maryland, and Illinois. In terms of countries, the United States and the Russian Federation. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping, some things that are celebrated on November 15th. None of these I had heard of before, so these are new to me. So let's see here. It says America Recycles Day, National Bunt Pan Day. So if you like baking, it's a good day to bake. National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day. I do hope that people are cleaning out their refrigerators more than just once a year. Typically I try and clean mine out once a week or once every 2 weeks. It's always good to do that. It is also National Philanthropy Day, National Raisin Bran Cereal Day. And this one, I really don't know what it is. It's National Spicy Hermit Cookie Day. So I don't know if that means that hermits eat cookies and that they're spicy. I don't know what that means at all. Kind of different on that one there. But let's go ahead and dive into this puppy here. This is the Superfund site that was located in American Samoa, meaning past tense. So this territory only had one Superfund site. And the reason why I wanted to discuss this one is because, first of all, America Samoa only had one Superfund site, and the EPA surprisingly cleaned it up really quick. So this one, the name of it was, and I am probably mispronouncing these, it's called Taputimu Farm. So it's a farm located in American Samoa, which again is one of our territories, I think of like 7 islands in the Pacific. And this location of this one, where the Superfund site was in Pago Pago, I think is how you pronounce it. The issue with this one was very interesting. It says 10 drums in a warehouse and a trailer leaked pesticides containing base neutral acids, so not good there, polychlorinated biphenyls, also not good, persistent organic pollutants, and volatile organic compounds, also known as VOCs. So all of that is really bad. What I find very interesting is that this Superfund site in this territory, it was proposed to be added to the list in 1982. It was added to the list fairly quickly. It was added to the list in 1983. Then it was cleaned up and good to go in 1986. So in a little less than 4 years, this Superfund site was cleaned up and good to go. The reason why I wanted to discuss this one even briefly, because this episode will not be very long, because American Samoa, this is the only one it had, and it's cleaned up and good to go. What I wanted to mention here with this is that the EPA actually did its job and did it well in regards to this Superfund site. And I'm shocked by this, because as we have seen in times past, usually it takes forever, it takes years to even be recognized that an area is toxic and hazardous to the environment, which also includes people and livestock. So it takes years to be proposed to being added to the list. Then it takes years to actually be listed on the list. Then it takes even more years, even more time for it to actually to be cleaned up and good to go. This one, this happened so fast compared to the others. The others, it took several decades, and some of them are still sitting there decade after decade after decade. So my thing with this, I really hope and pray that the EPA takes a look at this Superfund site and identifies the protocols and the procedures that actually worked to help get this site cleaned up and good to go in a little less than 4 years. Because I think that is actually a really good timeline that we can definitely apply to every single Superfund site on the national priorities list, as well as all the other Superfund sites. Because remember, the list that we are reading from is just the national priorities list, which is a very small segment of these. So we're only looking at a snapshot of the whole picture. Again, the national priorities list maybe has about 1,200 to 1,400 of them on there, whereas grand total, there are about 40,000 Superfund sites located in the United States as well as within our territories. So again, I hope and pray that the EPA takes a look at this one, because this is a slam dunk in terms of what exactly the EPA is supposed to do, and in terms of what they are supposed to do, they are supposed to clean these things up. It's not supposed to just sit there year after year, decade after decade, causing a problem. You know, what's interesting is that I don't see anywhere, at least so far on this one, where the land was redeveloped and then sold, but yet it was still toxic and hazardous to people and to the environment. I don't see that here. Because typically what we have seen in times past, whenever the EPA sells property, well, let me rephrase that, whenever it redevelops a Superfund site and sells it, it is still on the national priorities list. So it has not been completely deleted. And the reason why is because those sites, even though they have been cleaned, well, they're not cleaned up, but they have been redeveloped and sold, they still have a toxic level to them, but it's just a lower level than what is considered lethal. This one, I don't see that here. This one I see from everything I've looked at, it shows that it's cleaned up and good to go. It is no longer a problem for anyone. It's no longer toxic and hazardous to people, to the environment, much less to livestock. So again, I think this one is really a gold star, surprisingly, for the EPA, because they did exactly what they are paid to do. On this one, they identified the problem. They proposed that it be added to the list. It was added to the list very quickly, and then it was cleaned up fairly quickly. So instead of taking 4 decades, this one was cleaned up in less than 4 years. So this is a very excellent example. It's a really good role model of what to do and what we can do, because I look at it this way. You know, we are the United States. We are number 1 for a reason, okay? So we have the ability to do really great things, even in the face of adversity, even in times that are really tough, even when a situation seems really bad. We actually do have the ability to do great things and to clean this stuff up. It doesn't just have to sit there for decade after decade causing a problem. You know, we don't have to let future generations inherit this kind of muck, because that's what it is. It's muck. And it's not good to just pass this along to our children and our children's children. Usually whenever people inherit things, it's supposed to be something that's actually for their good, and it's supposed to be something that is actually going to bring joy to their life. Whereas Superfund sites, you know, generation after generation have been inheriting Superfund sites, and it is not a joy, it is not healthy, and it's not good. So, gold star to the EPA for cleaning up this Superfund site, getting it done in a little less than 4 years. I am totally impressed with this. I mean, look at it this way. The EPA cleaned this puppy up quicker than someone can pay off a car loan. That's how amazing this is. It's really interesting here. So FYI, the EPA actually did its job and did it well with this particular Superfund site. I will go ahead and end this podcast on a good, pleasant note, so God bless the EPA. You know, things can always get better. But I will go ahead and end this podcast, but as usual, until next time, I pray that you're happy, healthy, and whole, that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.